Hey there, second grade. This is Mr. Campbell. Today we are going to be working on Chapter 4, Lesson 7. We will be checking our substitution. So would you go ahead and turn to page 261. That's where we're going to be getting started today. Now, as we do this lesson today on page 261, it's going to be talking about after we do a subtraction problem, how can we make sure that that problem is correct? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more here and just talk a little bit about how we've done this in the past. Now, again, if you are not on page 261, please go ahead and turn there right now. But I'm going to go ahead and start walking through and show a little bit more about what we're going to be doing today. So in the past, we've had some different subtraction problems. So I'm just going to go ahead and make up one of the problems right now. So let's go ahead and say if we have 8 minus 3. All right, 8 minus 3. Now, in this problem, there's no regrouping, but what we can do is we can start at 8 and count backwards 3 times. So 7, 6, 5. So 8 minus 3 equals 5. Maybe you already knew that, but 8 minus 3 is 5. Well, what we can do now is we can reuse these same numbers. Remember before we were talking about our fact triangles, and we had talked about how our largest number goes up on top, and then our two smaller numbers go on the bottom. So I can make my fact triangle, and I'm going to use that same way to now check my work. All right, so I'm going to use these same 3 numbers, but instead of doing a subtraction problem, I'm going to try an addition problem. So my 3 is going to just stay the same. So it's just going to come straight over and go right back here. So it was a yellow box. It's going to stay a yellow box. My 8, however, is going to come all the way down here to the bottom because I'm doing an addition problem. So just like when we use our fact triangles, in a subtraction problem, we start with the largest number, but in an addition problem, that's our sum, the answer. And then we're going to flip our difference is going to be one of our addends. So now I can double check to make sure that this is true. So if I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I add 3 more to it, does it equal 8? Well, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we would say, yes, this checks out. Now, this is just a way for us to make sure that we are doing things correctly. So as we're working on these problems today, this is just a strategy for us to make sure we didn't make a small mistake. Because if I would have got to this and this sentence was not correct, then I would know that my answer over here was not correct. Well, let's go ahead and turn to the next page and jump into our guided practice for today. So we're going to go ahead and start here on page 262. So if you are not there, please turn there right now so that way as we go through this guided practice, you are on the same page as me and following along the same way that I am doing it on my page. Wherever I'm writing on my page, I'm going to ask for you to write on your page as well, just so that way we can both have the same information written down. It says here, you can check the answer to a subtraction problem. Check 25 minus 10 equals 15. All right, so we've already found out the answer to our problem. 25 minus 10, they told us, equals 15. So I can go ahead and write in my 15. Well, in order, just like we showed before, even when we have 2-digit numbers, we can add the bottom 2 numbers together to see if we get the top number. So we flipped that around. So my 15 came up on top, my 10 just came straight over, and now I want to see, does it equal 25? Well, let's go ahead and look. 5 plus 0. Well, 5 plus 0 is always going to be whatever number was before the 0. So that's 5. 5 plus 0 is 5. If I have 5 and I add nothing else, then I still have 5. Next, I've got 1 plus 1. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2. Did all of my numbers have the same? Here's my 25s. Here's my 10s. Here's my 15s. They check out. So this checks. All right, this is helpful for us to make sure that we don't make mistakes when we are adding and subtracting. Well, let's go ahead and go down to number 1 and see if we can try this now with a number that they aren't giving us the difference. All right, so I have 36 minus 20. Well, I first need to figure out what 36 minus 20 equals. So let's go ahead and start here. 6 minus 0. Well, if I have 6 and I take nothing away, then I still have 6 because I didn't take anything away from it. If I have 3 and I take away 2, 1, 2, I'm left with 1. So 16. Here's the part that we want to keep things the same. So let's move our 20 over. And then our bottom number is going to come up on top. We like to flip them around. And let's see if it equals the number that was on top over here. 6 plus 0 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 3. So it works. Oh. Well, for number 2, they're going to change it up on us a little bit. Because for number 2, we're going to need to regroup. All right? Because when I look here, my bottom number is larger than my top number. So that cannot work. If I have nothing, I can't take 2 away from it. So that means I'm going to need to regroup. All right? When I regroup, I'm going to take 1 away from my tens place. So I'm going to take that away. So now I'm left with a 4. The 1 that was right there comes over here. And then whatever was in my ones place, whatever's in my ones place comes up. So now I have 10 minus 2. 10 minus 2. We'll start at 10 and count backwards 2 times. 10, 9, 8. Now I go to my tens place. 4 minus 1. If I have 4 and I go backwards 1 time, that's going to be 3. So I have 38. Well, here's the tricky part. When I have to regroup, I want to see if my original number up here is going to be the answer that I have at the bottom. All right? So I'm not using this 4 and the 10. I want to check if my 50 will come out on bottom. My 12 is going to come right across. My 38 is going to move up top. And let's see if we end up back here with 50. 8 plus 2. Well, I'll start at 8 and count on. 9, 10. My 0 stays here, and I need to regroup my 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So my 50s check out, my 12s check out, and my 38s check out. These all check out. I'm going to have you go ahead and try number 3 and number 4 on your own. Try these 2 problems on your own right now. So I'm going to ask you to pause your video and go ahead and try these 2 problems on your own and see if you can solve them. So pause right now and do these 2 problems and then check your work. All right, I hope you paused your video and you are checking your work. If not, pause right now. I have 1 minus 3. Well, my bottom number is larger than my top number, so that won't work. I need to regroup. When I regroup, I'm going to change this to a 1 because I'm going to take 1 away from it. That 1 comes over, and my ones place comes up. 11 minus 3. Start at 11 and count backwards 3 times. 11, 10, 9, 8. My 1 minus 0 is still going to be 1. Well, let's check this out and see if we get all 3 answers the same. My 3 will come over. My 18 will go on top. And we want to see if we ended up with our 21. 8 plus 3. Start at 8 and count up 3 times. 9, 10, 11. My 1 stays here, and I need to regroup the other 10. 1 plus 1 is 2. 21 checks out. 3 checks out, and 18 checks out. So this fits. Let's check out number 4. For number 4, I have 32 minus 14. Well, if I have 2 minus 4, I can't do that. My bottom number is larger than my top number. So I'm going to need to regroup. So I'll cross off my 3 and take 1 away from it. So I'm left with a 2. That 1 that I took away comes over to be my 10s here, and I'll bring my 2 up. So I have 12 minus 4. We'll start at 12 and count backwards 4 times. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. 2 minus 1 is 1, so I have 18. All right, let's check our work. So my 14 is just going to come right over. It stays the same. My 18 is going to go up on top, and we want to see if we end up with 32. Well, let's start at 8 plus 4. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my 2 will stay here, and I'll regroup that 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 18, 14, and 32. That checks out. Well, right now I'm going to have you go ahead and go on to page 263. And I want you to work on page 263, numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Do all of page 263, and we will do that tomorrow. We'll go over those problems tomorrow as a class.